Alright, hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Ajax, and here I'm going to give you a little bit of breakdown about my locals. Um, I recorded this after my first take of recording the video. I fixed my audio, so if you've ever noticed that my microphone's cutting in and out, that should be fixed now. Anyways, like this might actually become a series on my channel. I know a lot of people don't have access to locals, and I do right now. I'm very fortunate that there is a locals near me. The picture on the screen is actually a picture of my locals, and I want to go over a little bit about what happens there. A lot of people play like hard meta, so I'll explain a little bit more about the matchups and everything, but I think there's something that I can learn from it. Maybe I can give that information to you guys, and maybe you guys can, those who do not have access to locals due to COVID, maybe can vicariously live through my experience at locals and give you a bit of an explanation of things that happen. So anyways, let's go right into the top four. So today was smaller. Today was an off day. It's one of the smaller days. The bigger days have like usually more than 15 to 20 people. Today was pretty small, only had 10 people. So there was only a top four, which I got fourth, which I was playing Pendulums, obviously. Third was Dragma Shadal. I think that deck is pretty strong. Sorry, excuse me. I think that deck is pretty strong, but I think it's mostly the Dragma engine. Like, the Shadal engine's, like, kind of meh. Like, I don't think Winda really does enough this format. I think Dragma is just, like, crazy. You can just shove it into anything. I don't think it really has anything to do with Shadal, but... And then second was Infernoble. The deck's crazy versatile. It has a crazy going first play with hand ripping. It can break boards like nothing. It can set up negations. It has really good main phase 2 plays after you've broken a board. Like, they have like hard ones per turn effects. Like, the deck is like really unfair sometimes, and I think it's really strong. And then first actually got water today. It kind of just depends. Like, sometimes water pops off, sometimes it doesn't. It's like a really inconsistent deck, and it really depends on how many times you got hand trapped and what kind of decks you played. Like, if you play against like Pendulum as water, you're probably gonna FTK them unless they win the die roll, right? Like, there's literally matchups that's just like, well, who wins the die roll, you know what I mean? It just depends on like what kind of decks you're playing against, how many times you get hand trapped, stuff like that. So I think the deck is ridiculously strong when uninterrupted. It's more so like its consistency value. So those were the top four. Now I'll let past me tell you about the matchups and how the day went. Hello and welcome. A recap of locals at tonight. So my locals is competitive. They just started having locals on, and so not that many people came opposed to like numbers, but I still wanted to go over it because I played against like pretty much every deck that I played against was 100% meta, and I played against one rogue deck that's still I consider meta. Like, there's still a meta contender in my. So I wanted to go over it because a lot of people were talking about, hey, could you do replays? And it's like, yeah, I did replays, but I'd like to talk about what happens against real players, because as much as I think the online format matters, I think like in-person paper Yu-Gi-Oh is what matters like the most, because you can read your opponent. You like, you know, they can bluff their hand traps, they cannot bluff their hand traps. Like, there's a lot of thinking that goes on in person, and it's different than online where you have plenty of time. You don't have to worry about bluffing, all these other things, all these factors. So I think paper Yu-Gi-Oh really does matter. I'd much rather talk about what happened at locals today rather than just show replays online like I did last time, because I don't think that's always the best representation. Before I talk about it, so really aren't that many changes that I made to the deck. The only notable change that I've made, which was I decided to cut Revolution down to and just bump up Dark Worm. It's like essentially 99% of the time you're always searching this one, so it makes no sense to have this and instead of just 3. You know, also, this is a light target, so if you Jackal negate and destroy their Alistair, and you use your Odd-Eyes Revolution Dragon, now they have a light target in your card to use to make a Mecha. So, like, it just makes more sense to, like, play an extra Dark Worm. Also, it's a level 4. And, I added Dweller back into this deck. Dweller actually was fucking phenomenal tonight. It overperformed in every single... this card's fucking... I can't believe I wasn't... Dweller is just such a fucking good card. Other than that, there weren't really any noticeable changes. I definitely found myself siding out this card less. Other than that, though, I mean, I really like this build. I like what I did with it. The Imperms actually came up super fucking clutch. So I'm really glad that I did decide to put these into the deck. They were fucking huge. Yeah, so let's just get on to some of the game. Round 1, I played against Eldritch. He hand trapped me into a fucking oblivion. And that's okay because I still ended up with a Servant and a Mighty Master on the field, both with counters. So if the Mighty Master died, I was gonna get to search for a spell, and I had one spell negate, and I'm playing a spell and trap based deck. So like I wasn't that scared. Like when I ended on this, I was like, okay, whatever, that's fine. I had like 3 cards in hand. I was like, I have a really good follow-up play here, so it's fine. I can't like pen summon in full combo, but there's gonna be a next turn probably, and I should be able to disrupt him enough. And Servant is gonna go back into scale one. So this is what I ended with. He tricked pretty hard, and I was really able to not only negate an important spell card, but as well like I was able to get a follow-up play on my search, my Servant going back to scale. So like so easy for me to have an easy. So we went into next turn. I was able to destroy his board, make Mighty Master, Vortex, and Dwell, and he only had like 500 life points left. So, like it was just GG's at that point. Like he can't even activate the spell card to search, so he because he had a Golden Lord in graveyard, and he's not gonna be able to activate the effect on it. So he just. Then we go oh, this is game 3, but so we go to game 2. I didn't see a single synchro card, so I just assumed he was either Elvish or he was playing Dogmatic Elvish. Those were my 2 like assumptions people have been on. So I didn't side to play against a synchro matchup. I played to I sided in things like Chalice, Denko Sekka, stuff like this, right? And then he full synchro comboed. And I looked at my hand and I was like, I have a Servant here. I have good cards. But I see like fucking 30 negates on his field from the synchro combo, and I'm like, I don't think I can play through this. And I just wanted to make sure we had enough time for game 3. So I was pretty confident that I could put up a board and just fuck. So pretty much going to game 3, I kept the Denkos in because I was like, this might end up being a grind depending on how I open. And since I side the blue boys out a lot of times, post game 1, I was like, I still want a normal summon to beat it. So sure enough, like I was able to full combo. I ended on Vortex, Mighty Master, Jackal King, Queller, and I still had my normal summon available. And I normal Denko. He looked at it, and you're like, you're fucking kidding, right? I'm like, nope. So pretty much he used like everything. Oh, there was an IP here too. I don't know why I forgot to add this. So like he tried his fucking hardest to out this Denko Sekka so he could do things on my turn. And once he found a way to out it, I was just like, alright, that's fine. And then I IP Masquerade it in the Dweller away, and I made a Apples, and he just couldn't do anything. That was pretty much the end of round 1. Then we go to round 2. I played against Infernoble Knight. So I ended on Vortex, Mighty Master, Jackal King, and Appaloosa, and I don't think he hand trapped me. Oh no, I think he ashed my pen call. Yeah, he ashed my pen call. That was pretty sad about that, but it was fine. Like I was still able to make a good. He had the Super Quantal, the special summon, and he had the Oliver, and he had one extender, and he put the Oliver into Old, and he equipped the Oliver to his Old, and then activated the effect. So like if I negate it with Jackal King and like doesn't destroy, and then he just needs one more extender to make another Isolde, but he just didn't have the extender. So he told me after he misplayed. I don't remember what he said, but. That was like the idea of it, because like Isolde's second effect isn't like hard ones. So then, so game 2. Here's what happens. Game 2. He hand rips me. He opened Imperial Order, and full combo, and he ripped my Magician Souls with Aqua Dolphin. Had Imperial Order and full combo. I was like, he just showed me the Imperial Order. He showed the Isolde, and I was like, yeah, let's go game 2. We're bros, so like he just showed me the Imperial. I was like, let's not waste time. So we go to game 3, and pretty much the same, like a similar thing happens on my end. I sided in Secret Village because it's just literally an auto win. So, pretty much what happens is he didn't open any hand traps. I opened, I wouldn't say like the nuts, but it was good enough to make it pretty much unbreakable and have a secret. So once I activated the Secret Village, I think I had like Blue Boy on the field. I don't remember. And then I was about to pen summon after the Blue Boy. And he's like, yeah, I can't play through. Showed like 3. I was like, alright. That was pretty much that was the 2-1 win over Inferno. Then I played against Water. So he ashed my pen call and I bricked pretty hard. So I just ended on Abyss Dweller. I didn't know what he was playing, but I could make a rank. and I think you're just gonna see a common theme here, is when I get hand trapped into, I'm starting to just think that Dweller is like probably the best um the best thing just to make. Like it can stop Titanclad from activating from Dogmatica. It can help you in the Shaddoll invoked matchup. It can help you against Shaddoll Dogmatica. It can help so many fucking in Eldritch. Like all these decks have a really hard time with Dweller. So like I was perfectly fine ending on a blind Dweller because I'm not just gonna end on a fucking Dark Worm. I think I like normal the Celestial Magician, activate effect to get a +1 in phase and then make a Dweller, and just say go ahead. And if they can play through it, they can, but like a lot of times like they can't. Especially against a lot of like the meta decks right now. Like Dogmatica, like they don't fucking OTK you. Invoke doesn't OTK. None of these decks fucking OTK turn 1. So like if I can end on a Dweller, it's like whatever. And I had cards in hand for follow-up. Now the issue with this is I misplayed really hard after that, and then he had a Neptivus and a 1-for-1 for his follow-up play. It was just fucking, it was rough, dude. I like, I don't know. I wish I could have played this a lot differently. I'd have to, I can't remember all the steps because this was hours ago. That's pretty much what happened. Game 2, I didn't open super good, but I opened like good enough to stun him. I opened Apples, Jackal King. There's not really much a water player can do in this situation unless you open like Forbidden Droplets or something. By the way, he ashed my pen call again. I was so fucking tilted. I was so fucking tilted. But I still was able to end on a board good enough to beat water. Yeah, and then we go game 3, and he ripped 4 cards out of my hand, and I was like, he ripped 4, ended on VFD and Toad, and I was like, nice. That's fair. Like I sided in like the hand traps that I have in my side deck, but I didn't. Just understandable. Like they're not there to always open. They're so like sometimes if you happen to play against a deck you need them, there's the argument that you could play more hand traps inside with some of the degenerate hand ripping decks, but that's a whole nother conversation. So yeah, this. Oh boy. So here's my round 4. So I played against Dogmatica Shaddoll. I got fucking destroyed, dude, and I ended on a Dark Worm. It was like the most depressing shit I've ever seen. The hand was so fucking bad. He made his Mecha, and I was like, alright, let's just get. Game 2, I ended on IP Dweller Jackal Mighty Master. Just like literally nothing he can do there. I negated his Alistair. IP'd away these 3 for Napaloosa. There's just not much. I made an access code talker on my follow-up play and popped his entire. I popped I think 4 cards on this. It was fucking ridiculous. Dude, access code talker is such a stupid card. And then game 3. So here's what happens game 3. So I opened up pretty good, right? I had like 1 more card in my hand, but I don't remember what it was. So he, again, my pen call got hashed. I was like, all right, I've seen this before. And he ended on, so I actually opened up the imperm in my hand, and I sided into invoked because I was like, if I can just imperm the Alistair, like, I don't think he can play the game. So like, I sided in the imperm, I drew it, and I was like, oh, sick. So I impermed his Alistair, and he passed, right? And he set 1, or no, he set 2. The dog, I think it was the Shaddoll Trap and the Shaddoll Trap and Cosmic Cyclone. So I desires, right? I banished everything. Literally fucking everything. I had like another pen call, right? I banished like fucking everything. I banished all my magicians. Like I was so fucking depressed, dude. This deck plays a bajillion low skills. Like Pure Endymion, like they only play like 4. So like if you don't draw your low scale, it's like understandable that you need to dig really hard to get your low scale. But like this deck gets its low scale, right? There's no problem getting its low scale. Well, this game I opened up all my high scales. My only low scale was Gate 0, the donut, and he knows my deck, right? He knows my list, so he knows I play low scale. But he saw that I searched Mighty Master, and he was like, I wonder. So he Cosmic Cyclone my donut, and now I don't have a low scale. I have full combo. Like I forget what the other card in my hand was, but like I 100% end on at least 2 negates, and his whole board is popped, and he has like cards in hand. It's like there's no way he's winning this game. But he Cosmic the low scale, and I was like, shit, I can't play. I was also under Into the Void, so on my end phase, like everything but the Mighty Master went to went to graveyard. So I scale the Mighty Master here and then the other. So it's just like so I have no follow-up play. I don't have a low scale. Like it was so fucking bad. Now on a positive, I obviously I beat over his Alistair with the Dark Worm. So all I need to do is draw a low scale and maybe I can play because I had something in extra deck. So if the Dark Worm does, I pen that and like whatever. And then assuming I can draw a low scale, and I was like, dude, there's no way I'm drawing a low scale, I'm just gonna scoop. And then as I'm picking up my cards, I flip up the top card of my deck Subductor. I was like, dude, this is why you never fucking scoop. You always make sure that they 100% have game before you. Like, I fucked up so hard, like, this was such a free W. So I ended up 2-2. It was only 10 people at locals today, so top 4 got it, and my tiebreakers were good, so I ended up getting 4. But, like, I learned a lot today. Like, so 1, Dweller's broken into this format. And 2, I don't need to overcommit every time unless I'm playing against like something like Infernoble Knights, because a lot of these decks like can't really play, so having follow-up plays is really good. Going back to the deck list, there's one thing I forgot to mention. I cut the Skull Warrior, and I just have the Entis here. I think it's wrong to commit it more than one spot to this, because like not every Dogmatica player is playing Maximus. So if you commit 2 slots of your extra deck to like playing against Maximus, I think that's bad, because like half the time people that are splashing Dogmatica aren't even playing the Maximus to send 2 cards from your extra deck, right? So I'd rather, like, I can give up 1 Selene, that's fine. Like, that's no big deal. I could even give up the Big Eye. Like, honestly, that's probably better. I put back in the 3rd Selene, I cut Big Eye, because like Numeron's getting a lot of popularity in Central Florida. So I might be able to get away with cutting Big Eye and going triple Selene, but I'm so fucking scarred by losing just Unga Megaclops that like I'm gonna get scared if I cut that card. I'm gonna see Numeron and be like, get away, get away. Yeah, so this is the deck. I really fucking love this deck. I'm testing a bit of Pure Endymion right now to see which one I like more. Overall, I think Pure Endymion has like the higher ceiling of the 2 best quote-unquote Benchulum decks, but this deck I think is much more consistent. I also think that Boarload Savage is something I should really this deck. Like if ending on like if like I'm able to pen summon a Harmonizing and a level 4 for my deck and end on Boarload Savage and like a Dweller or something, I'd be 100% okay with that. And then making sure I have follow-up play is like in my hand, like 2 or 3 cards I can pen summon on it, rather than ending on like 4 negates. Because I only think like the time like 4+ negates is necessary is when you're playing against Infernoble Knight. Other than that, like I don't think you need like 50 negates. Like I know that sounds like counterintuitive, because of course you want to stun your opponent from playing the game. So like if you can make that, sure, that's great. But dude, like a lot of people in my local they start playing like all the broken cards, like Forbidden Droplet, Lightning Storm, like all like the really crazy like block cards. So I really am trying to keep in mind of like how many negates I'm putting up, because like I want to make sure that I'm not just gonna get blown out either. Especially when like they droplet and like discard a monster, like I can't like respond to that, you know what I mean? So it's like I know they can't OTK me, so am I okay with only disrupting them and letting them kind of play and then being able to OTK them on their turn, or like on the next turn, you know what I mean? So it kind of depends on deck to deck, but I'm really liking like calling this deck more of like a Dweller centric deck, or like a deck that puts up those 1 or 2 strong Omni negates. Like Vortex and Dweller together are disgusting. They're so fucking good. So, I'd like, if there's anything you take away from this video, it's that 1, Dweller's really good this format, and 2, you don't always have to put up 20 bajillion. Really don't. Like, that's something that I'm like really starting to understand, because sometimes putting up those extra negates is actually bad. I know that sounds, dude, it sounds so fucking stupid saying that. Because like I always want to set up as many negates as like I'm gonna stop ranting about this. It's matchup dependent. Sometimes setting up the 8 negates is good. Sometimes having follow plays and is good. It depends on what deck you're playing. As you're playing as a combo, a mid range, or a control deck. So, anyways, I appreciate you guys watching this video. I hope you're enjoying playing the deck. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will be posting actual online replays soon. Don't worry. I just wanted to go over some things that happened in Paper Yu-Gi-Oh today. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Goodbye.